Good afternoon, I'm Seamus O'Regan, and I'm here with Richard Garneau, the President and CEO of Resolute Forest Products, headquartered in Montreal. And we're talking about the transformation of the forestry industry, and specifically the role that an industry leader like Resolute plays in it. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you.
Tell us, Richard, a little more about Resolute Forest Products.
Well, Resolute Forest Product is the largest producer of pulp and paper in Canada, and also the largest solid wood producer of first transformation, second transformation, and third east of the Rocky Mountains. So our company is quite big. It's about $4.7 billion of sales on an annual basis. We have 9,000 employees. We operate in 3 different countries, and we sell our product in 90 countries.
You've been known to say that you believe the forestry sector has a strong future, which some may find surprising, given all the challenges that the sector's faced over the past 10 years.
Well, you're right. If you look at the last 10 years, it has been very, very difficult for the industry. Many companies disappear. If you look at the list, you're going to be amazed by how many companies we had 10 years ago. Many mills all across Canada, many mills had to close because of the downturn. But the industry is still very significant. It's a $57 billion industry. It's 12% of the manufacturing GDP, so 12%, it's big.
What is it that you see that makes you feel so strongly about the future of the sector?
Well, I think it's the innovation. We know that the industry is changing, and we know that paper is there is less consumption of paper, but there is value in the trees, and I think that new product, and it's going to take some time, to maybe 3, 4, 5 years. When you look at what the industry is all about and what you can do with trees, I think that sustainable development is the key. When you look at how the forest is harvested in Canada, Canada has a reputation of having really world-class standard, and sustainable development is going to provide the impetus for the industry to branch out and produce other products.
So the industry is becoming greener?
Well, there is no doubt. I think that the industry is becoming greener, and sustainable development, it's part of the evolution. So since 1990, $9 billion have been invested into the industry, into facilities, into pulp and paper mills. I think the other point that is interesting, 74% of the paper that is used in Canada is now recovered. It's recycled, it's produced back into newsprint or paperboard. So I think that really the integration also that we see, our company Resolute is really well known for having harvesting operation, also sawmills and pulp and paper mill all working together, and it's also a way to find different products to eventually to branch out or be less exposed to paper and have other products.
So it's really changed the way that you operate?
You have to change, you have to think differently, you have to look at different ways to do things. One example is the water consumption, and we know that we have a lot of water in Canada, and but now it's really at the forefront of everything that we do. We monitor water consumption and try to find ways to reduce it, and we have been successful in finding ways. So it's the way that you become really greener, by using less of it, producing the same product, and remain competitive.
How do you define sustainability?
Sustainability at Resolute, there is 3 pillars. So the environment is one key element, communities, the social aspect is another key element, and the economic aspect. And it's important to keep a balance between the 3. So sustainable development is part of the equation. And I think that if you really focus and work well on sustainable development, you're going to become a more efficient company, because the jobs that we're going to have are going to be long-term jobs. We're going to be a stronger partner for the communities, because it's where we live and work. And if you want to have the support of people and convince them also that sustainable development, it's also part of the way that they live and work. It is the way that we see sustainable development. So as a tool to improve, as a tool to look really at balancing the 3 pillars, make sure that we do the right thing on the environment, that we do the right thing for the employees, and that we are able to reinvest as a company and make sure that the future is going to be bright.
So you changed internally how you do your auditing when it comes to sustainable development, and you've got a mechanism to keep you on track. But what, I mean, people, when they think of sustainable development, they're looking at the forests. I mean, what about the forests themselves? How do you make sure that they're around for generations to come?
A very good question, because it starts with forests, and the environment is part of it. And when you look at stump on an area that has just been harvested, and you see picture on TV of stumps and large area, it gives a negative impression. There is no doubt about it. But is it different than a corn harvest that you have in the fall, and the next spring you just plow and replant again? So I think that mature trees, they have to be harvested. They are mature. They're like people, like us. At some point in your life, you get older. The trees are exactly the same. They capture less carbon. And when you harvest blocks, when you harvest the forests, you just give a chance to the sun to basically it's the light, and gives a chance to the seed that is in the soil to basically to come out, and you have a new generation of trees that is going to capture carbon, and it's part of the natural regeneration of the forest.
Tell me more about your reforestation programs.
Well, 100% of the land that we manage is certified with a third party. And one of the achievements that we are very proud as a company is the FSC certification. We started with, at the end of 2010, with about 18%, 20% of our land base that was certified FSC, and now we're at 65%, so we're very proud of it, and we have a target. We want to achieve 80% by the end of 2015. And when you look at really regeneration and what we do, in 2012, we planted about 60 million seedling or young trees in Quebec and Ontario. Last year, we also achieved 1 billion trees planted in Ontario. And it's on top of the aerial seeding that we do. So I think that when we talk about sustainable development, it is all about making sure that the next generation is going to have the resources, communities are going to have the resources to create this type of condition for the communities and the economic conditions, and also protect the land. So it's all about the three pillars: sustainable development, the three pillars of sustainability, environment, the communities, and the economic benefit that you can derive from it.
It's not just about the trees, is it? It's about the rest of the forest, too.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. It's about biodiversity. And when you do your plan, your harvesting plan, you have to discuss that, and you have to make sure that you're going to leave enough trees, that you're going to leave enough greens, that the biodiversity is going to be protected, and when it grows back, that going to see the same plants and the same animals.
You work as well with the World Wildlife Fund's Climate Savers program, and their commitments are quite substantial. What made you decide to do that?
There's more and more people that question themselves on how they can make a contribution and reduce their environment footprint. And our company is not different, so we have that sustainable development. It's what you have to have in your mind. And this climate saver commitment to reduce our greenhouse emission has been quite successful. So when we have a commitment to reduce our emission by 65%, and by 2015, and we're at 63%. So it is significant. So it's 1.3 million cars that we remove from the road. Basically, it's the equivalent. And I think that it's not only the emission. We're looking also at ways to reduce our energy. We're replacing boilers that are used to generate steam. So instead of using coal, we use natural gas. And in Canada, we use biomass that is carbon neutral. So we have eight plants that use biomass to produce the steam that is required to dry the pulp or paper, and at the same time we produce electricity and sell electricity on the grid.
We talked a bit about how the environment factors into sustainability. Tell me a little more about the social and economic aspects of sustainability?
The environment is quite important, but the two other pillars are also significant. And just to give you an example on the social side, so we are very, very diligent on health and safety. We know that we have people get hurt on industrial sites, and we focus very much to make sure that every employee, before they start to work on repairing an equipment or harvesting a tree, that they think about the risk, what they can do to make sure that they are not going to get hurt. You know, forests provide thousands of jobs for many communities, and it's the reason why we're insisting so much on this, because many communities, it's the only game in town, if I can use the expression. So, and it's the reason why we insist so much on those pillars of sustainability. So the economy is important for them because they derive their livings from the forest industry. So we work with the individual, with the community itself, to make sure that we're going to be successful longer term.
I would expect in your primary areas of operation in northern Quebec and Ontario that First Nations have a significant presence.
Oh yeah, First Nation are present almost everywhere where we have operation. And an example in northwestern Ontario, in Turnaby, we have a sawmill, a large sawmill that has been built on First Nation land, Fort William's First Nation, and they are partner with us. And in Quebec, we have also we are partner with the sawmills, with the First Nation community in the sawmills in Auberjoine. It's an area between Lac Saint-Jean and the Abitibi. So they are involved in partnership, and we're working with them to find as much opportunities as possible. And at the same time, when you work with the First Nation, you have to make sure that they are going to be able to continue their activities, their ancestral activities with the forest. It's not a part of the sustainable development. It's protection, but at the same time, it's providing the communities, the First Nation communities, with the opportunities to participate into the economic benefits of the forest industry.
You've also developed products that promote sustainability as well.
Oh yes, it's one of the advantages of using mechanical pulp is that you use basically the old tree. You use the lignin, the cellulose, and the hemicellulose, and we have developed a brand, our line brand, that is made from mechanical pulp. And when you compare this product to a product that is made with chemical pulps, to use 50% less fiber, use less chemical, and our footprint on this product is anywhere between 35 and 85% less than the same product that is produced with chemical pulp. So it's an example of really the effort that has been made by Resolute to reduce the environment footprint, and at the same time provide the customer with a product that costs less, that's run really well, and they can also take the credit on the environment footprint.
You have given us a lot to think about today, so I'm going to give you the last word. Is there one last thing you'd like to make sure that you get out there?
Well, I think that what I would like to make sure people understand is that this industry has a bright future. It has been tough in the last 10 years, but I think that there is a lot to contribute to the prosperity of Canada. Our commitment to share the information. Sometimes we've made very difficult decisions. I'll tell you, when you have to close a machine or you have to close a mill, it's really difficult decision, because you know that there's people that are going to be affected. It's the livelihood of many families, and sometimes you have to make this difficult decision. And even though it's not popular, it's the way that we're going to survive, that we're going to be able to have a long-term future. And it's the transparency. You have to do what you say. And you have to explain it, because when there is no explanation, it's a lot more difficult for the people to understand. And you know, I've started in the industry 1974. It's a long time ago. It's almost 40 years. And you know, the experience that I have, and I'd like to share that with you. When I was a student, then it was, and I grew up on a farm. It was pretty difficult to find the money to go to the university. My dad knew the owner of a small sawmill, and he had a small block where he he was harvesting a tree, so I bought a chainsaw and I went and I learned how to harvest trees. I did it for a living to earn my money to go to the university. But I think that today I know people that that basically does the harvesting. They don't use a chainsaw anymore. It's a big equipment. I know people that plant the trees. I know people in the mills that make paper or produce lumber. And it's all about really the commitment, and I think that it's the value that we all have as a company, as an individual, really to be successful together, and going to be successful because of this sustainable development, the 3 pillars of sustainability, and it's really the participation of all our employees.
Richard, thank you.
Thank you.